All right. Peace to the family in the chat. Ooh, the time has come, family. The time has this must going to be a real important show because yeah, we got canceled the other day.
Yeah.
Billy's in Egypt, y'all. So y'all see what's going on over there in the so-called Middle East right now. So a lot of things are going on over there. But the most important thing is that we're here tonight. We're here to make it happen. Very, very important topic. This is officially God Power Month, and we're dealing with all things relating to our God power, so we're not getting distracted by anything else. We're not falling for the distractions. It's all about our God power. Listen, before I bring my guest on, get comfortable, family. Make sure you hit the like button. Let me get to a quick commercial, and we will be right back, family. Be right back.
Now I got a whole lot of something breaking through the roof. Willie Walker when he pressed the button. When I do a money ritual, all of a sudden money started coming. Then I cut the Holy Ghost. I still be rhyming even when I'm mumbling. You repeat my name 3 times while you staring in the mirror. Bottle will appear like poof. I came from out of thin air. To me the gun is like a magic wand. I make a problem disappear. I would knock a nigga teeth out his mouth. What? Just to turn him to veneer. I can do magic. 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 When I open up my mouth, I can move masses. Black magic on the beat, turn it to a classic. I'ma take the money out the bank, then I'ma put it in the mattress. So me the niggas got.
Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome to the stage Billy Carson.
What's up, man? Sorry about last night, man. Yeah, sorry about last night. You know, the internet went down, the grid went down. They were doing something here for security to reset something, and so everything went down. But we're back up. We're good. I'm back in Cairo. I was at that time. I was down in Aswan, and we flew back to Cairo and are here now, staying. We got decent, not the greatest internet, but at least it's decent here. And we're at the Four Seasons in Cairo, so we'll be here for about another 5-6 days.
What's your idea? Me being in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia right now, you being over there in Egypt, do you think you have a different perspective of what's going on over there than we do over here?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, from being here, I'm around mostly 90% Muslim people here, right, in this area, in this region. The Arabs came in here back in, I think, about the 1600s and kind of really took this area over. But there's a lot of good people here, and when I meet these people, I work with these people, I become good friends with these people, especially doing these tours, these big tours. We just took 80 people on a tour of Egypt, right? And so
80? Wow.
Yeah, 80 people just came with me on a private VIP tour of Egypt. And my guide was Muhammad Ibrahim. That's my Egyptologist. I always take an Egyptologist on these tours with me. These are great people, man. And just to get their perspective on life, on things, on the situations and so forth, it's pretty interesting. And so from this side, you get to see things totally different than I think what the America propaganda engines would like to put out. Over there, I know it's being really pushed hard on the news. And how I can tell is I get a lot of text messages every single day, a lot of emails every single day asking me if I'm okay, if I'm safe, because Israel's been attacked and so forth and so on. It's like, all of a sudden, these Palestinian people are supposedly the most evil people in the world. I think they're just kind of like pushing back. That initial strike was like just kind of pushing back because they've been tormented for a very long time. Even some kids have been picked off by snipers in the Israeli military while they were playing soccer in a field. And so, how much can you take? People are coming in, robbing you, taking your house away, putting you out in the street and taking over your property. It's it's pretty crazy. At the end of the day, I don't. I just see human bodies. I just see human lives at stake, and I think that unfortunately, due to uh, greed and power mindset, we're in a situation where you know people who will do anything in the name of quote unquote God. And this is what I talk about all the time with this religion thing. This religion thing is destructive. I believe what I believe is better than what you believe, and my God is better than your God thing, and my God gives me the right to this land, and my God gives me the right to take your property, and my God gives me the right to kill you. It's really a travesty, and I think it's an embarrassment to the human race that that's the mindset that people take on when they get into some of these religious cults.
Indeed, indeed. One of the questions I wanted to touch on today was dealing with the dimensions and the new age spirituality. And I guess I'll ask that one first before we go into the whole dreams and dimensions topic. I hear you say certain things about religion, and I hear a lot of the conscious or the new age or the spiritual teachers say things about religion. But I also look at the state. Let's just use Black people as an example, Billy. And I look at the behavior of our people, whether it's our music or just our culture in general. And I noticed that we had more of a sense of morality and more dignity when we was in religion. And now that the churches is kind of empty and we left religion, it's like it's like we're so much degenerate behavior going on in our community. What's your thoughts on that? Us leaving religion, and with us leaving it, you see the decline of morality with, in particular, Black people.
Well, when you look at it in a way of how information travels a lot faster today, then it kind of almost balances out in a weird kind of way. I'm not particularly sure if things are getting totally worse. I think that things are becoming more aware. We're becoming more aware of what's going on because of the speed of news and the speed of information that travels. Although if you do look at it from a different perspective, whereas one thing that religion is good for is it's good at giving people in some ways a conscious, right? Not everybody, not 100% of the people, but I would say probably 70% of the people gain a certain level of conscious. They will think about what they're doing before they do it, because is it right? Is it type thing, right? And so you have a certain level of respect and dignity. And in some of the older churches and older situations, there was also a lot of mentorship. You had elders, right? You had older men, showing up and talking to the younger men. The majority of these problems and issues that we have in these inner cities is coming from the masculine energy. Mind masculine is out of balance. But back then we had accountability in our neighborhoods. People would know you at the church, but they'd also know you now in the neighborhood. And so if they saw you doing something wrong in the neighborhood, it don't matter who the parent is, they was going to get you straight, right? And that's even gone now. So as we moved and shifted away from this mentorship and this kind of guardianship from all adults in the neighborhood, and it's kind of shifted more towards don't even look at my kid, don't think about my kid, don't speak to my kid. And so now we have a more isolated situation where the parent, who is not really sometimes being the greatest parent, doesn't want anybody else to be a parent to their kid, doesn't want anybody else to be a mentor to their kid, don't tell them anything. And it's in a lot of ways because there's less people. I guess maybe it seems like there's less people going to these churches. I just think that the system of the way that the teachings are, the encouragement, the upliftment, the accountability is actually missing across the board. And so that's what's kind of shifted us into this direction where, it just seems a lot more, in some of the communities, it seems a lot more dangerous, a lot more loose. Kids are challenging adults with no respect for themselves, no respect for adults, no respect for authority whatsoever. And it's almost like the Wild Wild West in some places, man. It's really getting crazy. But then you have to keep in mind as well, who's feeding some of these mindsets. And it's not all just based off on the church, also based off of some of these government agencies are actually putting guns and drugs in neighborhoods and leaving them there. I mean, there's no way that they're getting this many guns. They're being brought into the community. I remember a SUV full of weapons that was left by the FBI was discovered in Chicago. So again, adding credence and receipts that these guns are being dropped off. So they're fueling the fire. They're fanning the flames by doing things like this and encouraging, this behavior, as well as, of course, these record label executives that sign these artists are also actually forcing them to write lyrics that are programming us with a virus, with a mental virus that forces us to speak poison to our own selves and to our youth, and then they act out on it. So it's a combination of more than just one thing.
Indeed. That's why I'm glad we're implementing music so much in the God Power Part 2 workshop, Billy. I know how much music affects both hemispheres of the brain and how powerful it is in terms of programming ourselves and hypnotizing us. I mean, it's some woo. So I'm real excited. Let's start with the program. So one of the things about the God Power 2 conference happening October 29th is you're doing this awesome, I believe it's a multiverse meditation. Is that the term for it? That's the correct term? Yeah. And you gave me a clip of what you're doing, and you gave me a little, idea of what you're doing. And it's absolutely awesome. And I definitely look forward to it. And this conversation tonight is sort of like, just scratching the surface on what you're going to talk about on the workshop. Now, I've heard some interesting things. Have you ever heard of the gentleman, Bruce Goldberg?
Bruce Goldberg, no.
He was on what's your boy name? The dude you with Forbidden Knowledge. He's out there with you in Egypt now. Jimmy Church. Jimmy. Okay. Jimmy had him on his show years ago. I seen an episode where Jimmy had him on his radio show. And Bruce Goldberg, he deals a lot with like out of body experiences and hypnosis and dreams and things like that. And one of the things he said that was interesting with the dimensions, let's start like this. So he said, when you enter these dimensions, Billy, he said, if you hear the roar of the sea, you're on the astral plane. He said, if you hear the tinkling of bells, that's the causal plane. Similar, the causal plane, which has the Akashic records in it. So like, you know how when you go to the bookstore and you hear the tinkling of the bells and so he was like, that's associated with like the Akashic records in the causal plane. Running water, he said, is the mental plane. Running water is the mental plane. The buzzing of bees is the etheric plane. And the flute is the soul plane. Now, I find this quite interesting. I don't know if I ever heard any of this in my dreams. Wow. But what's your thoughts on hearing these particular sounds and these sounds being associated with a particular plane or dimension, Billy?
That's pretty powerful. I got to look this guy up now because
that's
good. Those sounds and those frequencies make sense based on that plane of existence that you just labeled. And so when you get into certain I guess you want to call it levels of sleep, levels of dreaming, you, in my opinion, you enter into these particular states where those frequencies actually exist. If you can get yourself to a point where you do guided dreaming, which is what I like to do, and in guided dreaming, literally what I do is I figure out specifically what type of dream I want to have, what I want to accomplish in that dream. A lot of the times it's meditation manifestations and things like that. And then I go in with this particular guided idea, this guided concept of this guided dream, instead of just randomly dreaming about things and then I wake up and I can't figure out what the heck's going on or what happened. I might take myself on a guided dream. Maybe we'll add that into the workshop as well. Maybe I'll do a little bit of time on that so people can understand what I'm talking about, and I'll walk them through it step by step. So when I go on these guided dreams, you do end up getting into these particular, as you get into the different levels, you end up getting into these particular sound waves and frequencies. And so what he's describing there sounds pretty close to some of the sounds and things that I hear going through this guided dream as I get deeper and deeper and deeper into the dream itself.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So when you hit these levels all of a sudden and you're thinking about specific things, you could be tapping into the Akasha when you're trying to gather information and gather data, come up with brand new, fresh ideas. So like I always say, I don't believe that there are very many new, fresh ideas. I believe that a lot of the ideas we actually take from the Akashic records, and we actually are able to download them and discern them. And when you get on that frequency, when I go into that manifestation information or that Akashic record information, so that I can figure out how I can manifest something that I'm trying to accomplish, how I can bring something to the table that doesn't exist yet, how I can be better than a competitor to gain more market share and things like that. All that information exists in the Akashic records, every single thing, because every thought that ever existed from every sentient mind that exists throughout the entire universe, that information is stored as light waves of energy in the Akasha. And all you have to do is get on the right frequency of that wave, and you can actually download it. And if you can discern it, you can put application behind it. And if you could put application behind it, you can use it. But what's interesting is when you enter that Akashic state, there is this chiming that's going on, this noise that's going on when you're getting into that. So I tell myself physically, mentally, that I'm going to be going into this state. I'm going to go into this energetic field. I'm going to grab this new idea. And I imagine that I'm looking for new ideas through this field of light waves until I can come up with one that when I touch it in my dream, it sends like this very incredible tingle down my arm all the way to my brain. And then that's the one that I want. And when I do that, then I hear this noise, and this noise sounds like this chiming. And then now I have the information. Sometimes I'll wake myself up from these guided dreams and I'll write down notes. And then I'll lay back down again and go back to sleep again. I'll type them into my phone, lay back down and go back to sleep again. And so people say, how do you come up with all these ideas? How do you come up with all this? There's a lot of stuff I'm like years ahead of my time. Even Forbidden Knowledge TV was before Netflix and Amazon Prime Video. They weren't even doing streaming yet. I bought the domain name before Netflix was streaming. And I actually launched back then, but the streaming fees were so high because there wasn't enough competition. So I actually shut it down, but kept paying my annual fee on my name until the right time came along to relaunch again. And that can be verified just at the date that I bought the domain name. So a lot of these ideas I get from these guided dreams.
Billy, man, you're gonna have to, the people in the chat, and that you can't say that. You're gonna have to do these guided dreams for the workshop, man. You're gonna have to do one. You're gonna have to do one, man. You're gonna have to do a guided dream, Billy.
I'm giving up a lot of my secrets.
I know, right? I know, man. Dr. B said the same thing. Real quick, family, for those who do not know or maybe may be unaware, and Billy just added something to the workshop. The workshop is going down October 29th, and we are actually starting at 10 a.m. We got to change that. So we're going to change that real soon. We're starting at 10, and we're going to about 7, 8. But it's an all-day workshop. Billy Carson and Dr. B series going down October 29th. You heard my brother Billy. He's going to do a guided dream. And wow, that's going to be powerful. But they're going to be talking about so much, family. This is like the metaphysical online event of the year. Anywhere in the world you could join us. The link to join for the workshop is pinned at the top of the chat. And I will, everybody's like, guided dreams. Yeah, that guided dream. If Billy do that one, y'all, that's going to be a powerful one. If Billy really do that one, that's going to be a game changer for us. So, everybody, the link is in the chat. If you are interested, for everybody who orders tonight, I will send, like I did last time, I will send the 7 sacred prayers for everybody who orders tonight. So if you order the ticket tonight, you will get the 7 sacred prayers featuring Billy Carson, Dr. B. Sirius, Professor Kaba, Sister Myra, Hank Risen's son, Queen of Fua, and I'm hope I'm not forgetting anybody else. Loaded Lux opens up for all of them. But if you order tonight, you will get the 7 sacred prayers tonight. Shout out to everybody who ordered already. If you have not got your 7 sacred prayers for whatever reason, just email me or let me know. Let me know in the chat, or just email me, and I'll definitely make sure I take care of everybody tonight. I hope everybody's enjoying it. Let's continue with the program. So that's very interesting, Billy. I definitely advise you to take a listen to that gentleman if you can. Very interesting concept, and I'm glad you talked about your particular experience. What I want to ask you, Billy, let me ask you this. In terms of dimensions, well, what is your technical definition of a dimension before we continue, Billy? What would you say a dimension is?
Well, dimensions from the quantum physics, teachings, it talks about the fact that there are multiple dimensions that exist in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we meaning theoretical physicists, believe that there are at least 11 dimensions, or the universe itself will collapse based on the mathematics of the construction of the universe. Now, if you look at dimension number one, you're talking about a line. If you draw a line on a piece of paper, that's the first dimension. If you connect those lines and make a house, like you draw a house with lines, that's a one-dimensional object in terms of the lines, but the lines connected turns it into a 2D object. So that's two-dimensional. Anything on the computer is also 2D. Even if it looks 3D, it's also only ever 2D. Third dimension is where we are right now in the physical, right? Third density. We can move around on the XYZ axis. And then you have another dimension above that. Now, these dimensions above us are all on a 90-degree angle, right? Compactified. And compactified, by the way, is an actual real word. Look it up. You got to tell people that, because I always bring my receipts. I remember I used that word one time and people started tripping. I'm like, no, compactified is a real word. And so they're compactified. And there's almost no space in between all the higher dimensions. They're literally stacked on top of each other. And if you go and move it in a 90-degree angle, and you can phase shift your atomic frequency to match that higher dimension, you can actually shift directly up into it or back down to yours. Going into the fourth dimension, you're talking about the tesseract. The tesseract, which is also known as Metatron's cube. You've heard of Megatron, right? In the Transformers series, they kind of made a play on his name. It's Metatron. And what are they looking for in Transformers? The Allspark. What is the Allspark? A fourth dimensional cube that helps to create life. When you look into quantum physics and theoretical physics, we discovered that there's something called a eighth dimensional quasi-crystal that casts a shadow down to a fourth dimensional quasi-crystal. Right. And that quasi crystal creates a shadow, which creates a sphere, which is our universe. So we're not learning that these Hollywood films have a lot of knowledge hidden and encoded into them. And then above the fourth dimension, you have the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, and 11th. And there's even another dimension above that talked about in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. He talks about the 12th dimension. So there's actually one more that quantum physicists have not discovered yet, or haven't realized yet in their mathematics. There's one more, which is the 12th, and the 12th dimension. To get to all these dimensions in the Emerald Tablets, he talks about accessing the duat. And the duat is a real ancient term. It's a portal. It's the place of the beginning of the portal to access multiple dimensions and also multiple locations. So these dimensions exist. They're real. And in every dimension, there's an entire universe of life happening all right now, all at once. In higher dimensions above the third, the past, present, and future happen all at the same time. So picture yourself in a house, and picture yourself at different ages in that house, or doing different things in the same house that you did that day. And then picture yourself on the outside, looking down through to the house, seeing through it, and seeing yourself in different parts of the house, doing different things at different times of the day. You're seeing the past, present, and future all at once. And so, this arrow of time that I talk about a lot, it only really happens from the third dimension down to the first. Above, that arrow kind of really disappears. And it would be really amazing to be able to access those levels. Thoth talks about accessing those higher dimensions in the Emerald Tablets.
Indeed. Yeah, very, very interesting. What dimension, since a plane that's real popular in the spiritual community is the astral plane, what dimension would that be on, the astral plane?
Now, that's a good question. The astral plane is interesting because the astral plane, it takes you out of your physical body, okay? And it removes you from you pop out, you actually have a pop that releases the spirit energy, the light force. And that light force is then free to roam and see and engage the third dimension, but not totally visible in the third dimension. It's almost as if in the astral plane, it's a higher level, a higher version of the third dimension, not totally leaving the third dimension, because the way that it's been described and the way that I've experienced it, you're free to, your body's free to roam and free to soar and free to see things and experience things in the third. And then you're even free to experience things outside of this planet. But you always come back to the same body. And in my personal experience, at least, it doesn't seem as if we've left the third. It's like we're experiencing the third dimension from a whole nother perspective, if you can understand what I'm saying. I remember, like, when I went to go get dental surgery years ago, I discovered something that I didn't know was that I had. 1 in 100,000 people are immune to Novocaine, which that's me. And then so they decided to put me to sleep, but I'm also immune to anesthesia. It actually paralyzes my body, but I'm still awake in my mind. And I learned this the hard way, because I had to go through that dental surgery completely conscious without being able to move or speak.
Shit, man.
And so, yeah, but listen, it's crazy. But what's interesting about that, though, and when I came out of it, the dentist was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, I told the dentist the jokes that they were telling. He was telling to his assistants. They weren't joking about me, but they were just telling jokes while they were working, and they were blown away. I was like, "Yeah, I heard everything you guys were saying, and I also felt everything." And I was screaming, but nothing could be heard. So imagine that perspective of being able to observe. I'm just trying to give you a metaphor. Being able to observe and see everything, and kind of almost engage it, but still from a higher plane of existence, but still being in the third dimension, still being somehow tethered to the body that you're going back to, because you can't get into anyone else's body, but you can get back into your own.
Indeed. Sometime, Billy, and when we talk about dreams, and shout out to Buku Gaming, just got your ticket. I'll be sure to send you the 7-second prayers tonight. Look forward to seeing you on the 29th at the GodPower Part 2. Some people report that they wake up. Let's say you have a dream, Billy, or while you got a wild dream, you wake up, you got scratches on you and shit. You like, how the hell did I get this scratch? And people are like, how the hell did I get this scratch? What goes on when a person goes to sleep and they return with a scratch or a mark on their body, Billy? Is it some alien abduction, some Anunnaki shit we don't know about, Billy? Talk to me, brothers. It got to be something. There's
so much stuff that is going on, that could possibly go on. I just observe people when they're sleeping sometimes, within the family. And it's interesting to see. I have a couple of people in my family right now that are very active sleepers that sometimes can go into these deep dream states and start moving around, speaking, and everything else. And it's like, what? I'm like, looking at them like, what in the world is going on? And in some cases, I can see how they can even injure themselves, right? Because they're jumping up, they're lifting arms and making these sharp, quick movements sometimes. It's like they're really involved and engaging in something in that dream. The dream is so powerful that they're able to even overcome the paralysis that naturally forms over the body when you go into a deep sleep. And so I think that sometimes people are getting into these deep sleeps, these deep states, and actually injuring themselves, scratching themselves. Some people might even sleepwalk. I had a son that used to sleepwalk a lot. He just one time he was just scared the hell out of everybody because it was dark in the house, and he just walked over and was just standing there leaning against the wall, the door frame, but he was actually sleeping. And so then he did it again. One time he came in and turned the light off in our room. I was like, what the hell is going on with this boy? But he's sleepwalking. So that can create injuries, because if you can imagine sleepwalking and you rub up against a coffee table with a sharp edge and you got a scratch on your leg, or you turn the corner too sharply and you don't know what you're doing. You turn into a door frame and scratch your arm, or maybe you're even in a fight in that dream and you're throwing and flailing your arms and you end up injuring yourself. Some of these things, I believe, could just be the person, their dream is so deep that they overcome the natural form of paralysis, and they're still moving their body parts around, and they somehow could injure themselves.
You deal with a lot of ancient information, spiritual information. You talk a lot about these gods and goddesses, and you talk a lot about, like, let's say, Inky and then Lil. Have you ever gotten attacked in one of your dreams, Billy, by, let's say, a character that you may think may be associated with something that you've read or something that you researched?
Yeah. I haven't been attacked in my dreams, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
I very rarely have bad dreams. I do have some from time to time. The
Mm-hmm.
majority of the time that I do have dreams where there's like really active, and I've been told that I'm mumbling and talking in my sleep or moving around. It's been me trying to save people
Wow.
from things. So I see people in situations and I'm trying to save them. I'm trying to get them. Somebody's trying to beat somebody up or attack somebody, and I'm trying to stop it from happening. Or those are like my nightmares. You know, my nightmares aren't me particularly getting attacked, but it's usually me trying to stop somebody from attacking somebody else. And so those are my worst dreams, I would say. But I've never been physically attacked in a dream. Or some people talk about, they're fighting and they're fighting for their life in their dream. I've never had that happen yet. And some people say, they dream about jumping off of a building or something, and then they wake up before they hit the ground. I haven't had that happen either. But another thing though is the reason why I like these guided dreams. The reason why that only happens to me like 3 times a year. I'm saving somebody dreams, and I consider those my nightmares. But because sometimes I can't save them fast enough. That's why it's a nightmare. But the majority of my dreams are guided dreams. And so because I'm doing my guided dreams and I have my system down pat, I'm literally controlling the majority of my dreams. Not all the time. I would say at least 80% of my dreams are controlled dreams. So there's another 20% there that, anything could possibly happen because you don't get it done every single night. But 80% of the time, I'm controlling specifically what I'm going to be doing throughout my dream state. And so that's why I don't have a lot of attacking. This is what I'm going to teach in the GodPower Part 2.
Billy, that's going to be fire. That's going to be fire.
Yeah. If people are having a lot of nightmares and a lot of, restless nights, when they use my technique, they're going to find that they have more control over their dream state.
Whew, fire. Y'all heard it here. We just been adding to this workshop. That's what's going to make it so legendary. Billy's officially going to do the guided meditation. Now, I didn't know he was going to do that. He decided that today. It just came natural. It's part of the flow of the show today. So that's how you know that it must happen, because it was just part of the flow. It was nothing that me and him talked about or planned. No. I think that's brilliant. I think that's amazing. I think that is worth the ticket alone, to learn how to participate in a guided meditation and to guide your dreams on your own. So you won't just dream about things that you have no idea, but actually to guide your dreams. I think that's amazing. And I look forward to that, Billy. Once again, for those who are interested, the link for the workshop is pinned at the top of the chat, and I'll continue to post it throughout the show. Let me ask you this, Billy. So I've heard people say that sometimes when people pass away, when they leave this realm, depending on their level of consciousness, they may get stuck down here, or they may not be able to elevate to certain levels that they need to go. So sometimes our folks may need a little assistance from us down here that are conscious. Have you ever attempted to communicate or maybe help your mother or father who passed away, because they may not have been privy or hip to the information that you're hip to with the quantum physics and everything? Have you ever attempted to help them with the information from this realm to the next realm, Billy?
I haven't particularly directly tried to do that myself, but I do know a couple of mediums that are real mediums that have I've had sessions with, who have told me or have communicated with me to them and them back to me. And a lot of the times it's them saying that they've been watching and learning and are proud of what I've been able to accomplish, and actually have been learning and feel gratefulness in their heart for the changes and the things that I'm doing to change the timeline and the way that, my bloodline is moving and the way that my legacy is building. And so those are 2 individual separate mediums that don't know each other. Both of them, at the time that I got those readings, didn't fully know my story and hadn't heard me. At that time, I hadn't talked about this stuff on social media. And some of the stuff that that they knew, I've talked about things on social media. Even after that, I had another session with one of them, some things that I've never mentioned. And so that's how I know that they're deep. I always test them pretty good. And what's interesting is a lot of the communication is them reaching out and saying thank you, appreciation, apologetic even for some things that have happened, in the past when they were here. And that they're just watching and that they're learning. And that's why I made that meme that went viral a couple of years ago, is because of that. One of these sessions that I had, the meme showed a picture of me with my ancestors when they were alive. I was a baby, and my ancestors were sitting behind me, all looking at me, smiling. I was the focal point of the image, of the picture, the photo. And it said, I am the prayers of my ancestors fully realized. And so it was after that session, though, is why I turned that photo into a meme and posted it on social media.
This is a real popular question that gets talked about a lot. Somebody in the chat said, why do I run slow in dreams? What's up with slow motion? What's up with dreams in slow motion, Billy?
Listen, that's so real, man.
Yeah,
you know what? That's interesting. That's a crazy thing, because I guess it does happen to a lot of people. It happens to me too. In dreams, like, you can't pick up no speed, It's like you're trying to pick up the speed. I don't know if it has to do partly with the fact that you're trying to really move your legs and you have the paralysis on because your brain has turned off that conscious link to the legs. And so you're fighting against that paralysis, and that is creating this delayed response from a synapse from the brain going into the leg muscles, allowing them to move slightly, but not allowing them to really move. It could be, now, if you think about it biologically, it could be the body's mechanism to keep you from hurting yourself. Because technically, if you could pick up speed, if you could feel like you're really running at a high rate of speed, maybe in some people, not all, but in some people, it might bypass that link that's saying don't move. It might bypass it, and you might kick yourself or kick somebody or kick a wall or start kicking your legs and injure yourself. So it could be a mechanism to save you from getting injured.
Very interesting. Wow. Very, very, very interesting answer. Mechanism to save you from hurting yourself. Very interesting answer. Let me ask you this. In terms of your chakras in dimensions, are they like, I've heard so much about chakras, even some people say that entities enter through your chakras when they I guess try to influence you. That's what they say. I think they said when you drink alcohol or something, sometimes you open up your chakras and entities can come into your aura or whatever. Talk to me about the connection, Billy, the connection between different dimensions and the chakras within our body.
Well, the chakras in your body are energy centers, and energy has frequency. Energy is a frequency, and dimensions are all frequencies. So, like I said before, if you can isolate the atomic frequency or the subatomic frequency of a specific dimension, and you can phase shift your atoms in your body to match it, you can walk right into another dimension. This is also talked about in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. It's in my book, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. And so your chakra system, because they are energy centers or frequency centers, once a chakra hits a specific frequency, it can then be accessed by another dimension. Now, this is talked about in the Nag Hammadi scripts. In the Nag Hammadi, the Gnostics talk about the fact that there are these beings called archons. And these archons are able to attach themselves to a physical human body and actually engage it where they can almost, like, in a weird kind of way, remote control it. So they can feed off the body. They're feeding off of the energy of the body. And so this is where you hear about these archons being able to, or you hear about people or beings being able to attach themselves to other people's chakras and influence them in certain ways. We're really talking about these archons from the Nag Hammadi, these ancient texts that exist. You can buy the Nag Hammadi on Amazon and read it for yourself. They've been translated for hundreds of years. But what's interesting is they talk about the fact that there's two kinds of archons. One looks like a reptilian, which is pretty interesting. Alien, crazy stuff. The gray alien can be seen in the third dimension with the physical eye, but the reptilian archon, it can only be seen through some type of apparatus, like something that can sense, that's very sensitive to different frequencies, or higher frequencies. It supposedly is a higher dimensional being that attaches itself invisibly to the human body, right on the back, right where the chakras are lined up. And in some kind of way, remote controls people to do crazy things so that it can feed off the negative energy that's generated from it. Think about that being written in ancient tablets. That's crazy. Ancient text. You know what I'm saying? And you just brought it up, but that's literally in the Nag Hammadi script.
Wow. Let me ask you this. So you wrote several books. You got the Emerald Tablets, Woke Don't Mean Broke. One of the things that you talk about a lot is I guess you could say the law of attraction, energy, and the power of your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings and things like that. When you're dreaming, Billy, when your avatar is asleep, when your avatar is resting and you're dreaming, does the law of attraction still apply to what happens in your life? Do the negative thoughts you may have or positive thoughts you may have in your dream still have an impact on your body and your reality, even when you're asleep, the same way it does while you're awake?
I believe so. This is one of the reasons why I do guided dreams.
That's why, right.
What you tapped on literally is one of the main reasons.
Powerful,
it's because I felt like if I can control my dream state, I can control the outcome that I want in my life when I'm in my awakened state. And I'm thinking, if my dreams are out of control and I'm having all these weird thoughts and I'm having dark dreams, all that it becomes trauma on the cells of my body. Whether you're awake, whether you're
or sleep, still trauma on the cells.
Exactly, still trauma on the cells.
I need this guy. I need this. I need this guided dreaming. I need it now, Billy. Oh man. Oh, good. I'm sorry, but good. Yeah.
No, it's all good. Yeah. So your cells are going to vibrate to those frequencies, no matter whether they're high or low, whether you're awake or sleep.
Right.
And I wanted to be able to control that, and also to maximize my manifestation ability. I want to be able to go into these manifestation dreams where I'm living the life that I actually am claiming. And in these particular dreams, and I'll guide you through how I do them, I'm not hoping or wishing or praying for something to happen. I'm living it as if it's already happened. I've already achieved it. And so I'm closing the big deal. I'm helping millions of people change their lives. I'm building better, stronger family lines. I'm building my legacy. I'm doing all these things within these dreams, these totally, fully guided dreams. I'm living my absolute best life. And I'm also, what the key is, I'm taking notes. I'm learning from things that happen in these dreams. And a lot of the times I get these deja vus because I'm remembering scenarios that I'm encountering in real time in the third dimension that happened in a dream that could have been 2-3 weeks or 4 months, sometimes even a year ago. I'm getting deja vu because now it's literally happening in real time. The same exact scene, the same exact setting, the same exact information, the same exact everything is happening, same exact person that I had just dreamed about just not too long ago. And so in some way, these dreams could be this, maybe it's a form of remote viewing, maybe it's a form of tapping into the future realities. I'm not sure, but the amount of times this happens is almost scary. But it allows me to literally become a master at manifesting, which I believe that I'm a master at manifesting. I'm not bragging. I'm not beating my chest. I'm just saying.
Go ahead, brother. Yeah, talk your shit. Talk your shit, brother. Talk your shit, brother. Go ahead.
When I think of something, when I come up with an idea, when I say I'm going to do this, this, and this, it happens.
Right.
But I have a system to allow it to happen between the thought that comes up, the conscious thought, backed by the action, right? The action building into what? Into manifestation, but also understanding that I'm so powerful now that what I have so many systems in place to help these things occur that I can think of something right now and tomorrow it'll already be there for me, or the opportunity to connect to it will be there for me. And I can literally be manifesting 24/7. I'm manifesting so strongly right now. I have to be careful of what I think and what I say, because if I don't, I can have a negative result. I've seen that happen before as well. So now I'm always thinking, before I speak, what do I say? Before I dig too deep into this thing, what do I do? Because I know that once I start engaging in whatever it is, there's going to be a manifestation coming behind that. That's how powerful it is now. And so now I have to be more accountable for my own thoughts and for my own words.
You just made me think about Tahuti. What's Heka? Heka's magic. What is Heka? What is Heka in ancient Kemet? Heka.
Heka.
Yeah, you never heard?
It?
I think it's Heka. I think, because Tahuti's supposed to be the god of Heka or something like that. And
he's
that's
the god
something
of the 8.
He's
the god of the 8. He's god of the 8. He answers to the 7 lords that control the 7 gates. He's also the king of Teotihuacan, which means Tahuti, the city of Tahuti, which is in Mexico, which is incredible.
No. Heka is let me just show. Heka is
I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah, you made me think of Tahuti the way you was just talking just now. Let me show you. Hold up, give me 1 second.
You about to bring me something new.
Yeah, you got to tap in this because the way you talking strong, brother. All right, Heka. So Heka, ancient Egyptian, also transliterated. Heka was the deification of magic and medicine in ancient Egypt. The name this is the Egyptian word for magic, and you see they showing Tahuti, but Heka. Wait, hold up. Let me see. Hold up. It has something to do with the spoken word. I forget. I was looking up on it like a year ago or something like that. But yeah, I highly suggest you read up on that because I know it deals with Tahuti, and he deals with with magic and medicine. So Heka is a form of magic. Yeah, you should definitely Heka is the throat. Okay, yeah, definitely look up words of power. Yeah. You see it in the chat. They're going off in the chat. Yeah, definitely
words of power, Egyptian magic. Yeah,
look that up, Billy, because the way you was talking, I was like, hey, he talking strong like Tahuti with that Heka magic, man. So definitely look that up, Billy. That would definitely be something that interests you. Definitely be something that interests you. But I mean, that's amazing, bro. Like I can see how you maximize your results because you're not taking no time off. It's like, how Kobe Bryant was in the gym when everybody else was sleeping and partying. So it's like when everybody else is sleeping, you still in the mental gym, you still doing you still doing your law of attraction and you still putting in work. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't playing. Right. So I can see it makes so much sense how you're able to maximize your results, Billy. It makes a lot of sense now, bro.
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
Like Mamba mentality. Well, like you say, while Kobe was working out, everybody was sleeping. While everybody was going to the gym, going to clubs, he was in the gym.
Yeah.
While everybody was going on family vacations, he was in the gym working, right?
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing that I'm doing with my mind and my, and my techniques and everything else, and my research and my studying. And so while people are only able to spend maybe 15, 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes a day to do what I've been working on for like 8 hours a day, 7 hours a day, there's only going to be a gap being developed between me and them over and over until the point where the gap becomes so wide, they'll never be able to catch up to me.
Amazing. Yeah, family, it's going down October 29th, Blueprint for GodPower 2. Billy going to give us some of his secrets to maximize manifestation. I advise we got about 2,400 people in here. Don't sleep on this one. Please do not sleep on this one. Do not sleep on this one. That's a game changer right there. So I definitely appreciate that. We got about 15 more minutes. It's like 4:30 in the morning where Billy's at in Egypt. So we're not going to be here too long tonight.
That's about 4:56 a.m.
4:56. Wow.
And I got to go walk about 15 miles. But it's all good. Listen, the people got to get this knowledge, man,
Yeah.
The people got to get this knowledge.
When a lot of people report, even there's been times when I know that when I was in my early 20s, Billy, and my diet wasn't the best it should be. And I eat some shit late at night. I know them bad dreams is coming. And, I had some wild dreams eating some bad food, Billy. What is it about food and dreams? Like if we could eat bad food and have bad dreams, does that mean that if I eat something alkaline, something healthy, something electrical, is that going to take me to a dimension that is like this soul dimension or this etheric dimension or a prosperous dimension, depending on what food I eat late at night, Billy?
Well, that's a good point you bring up because, the body is a temple. And so whatever you put in the temple is going to be what feeds the temple and what the temple can produce. So if you're putting in, if you're defiling the temple, your temple, then you're going to produce low frequency results. And therefore, your body's going to be going through turmoil. So if you're eating something, whether it's during the day or late at night, that's not good for the temple. The body now, especially in your sleep state, is trying to figure out how to clean this gunk out of the body. How do we get this stuff out of here? But at the same time, it's trying to figure that out. It's being attacked by this same bad substance, whatever it is that you put into it. And this is causing your cells to have a fight. So your cells are battling. So your cells are a multiverse inside of your body, right? They're also a fractal of you. And so now, since your cells are fighting all night long, you get nightmares because you're fighting. It's a fractal of what's going on inside of your body, right? So there's this battle going on in the body. Now you're battling in your doggone dreams, and you can't figure out, how come I'm having these dreams? I'm fighting and battling all night long because your body is fighting to try to keep you alive and clean this junk out of your system that you put in. And so the more junk we put in, the more things we put in that are detrimental to our health, the more fighting that our cells have to do, the more fighting we're going to do. The more agitated we are, the more angry we are, the less attention we can give to specific things. So we lose our attention capabilities. We lose our IQ. Our IQ drops significantly based on the foods that we're eating. All these things, begin to pay tribute to the level of quality sleep that we're getting, or not quality sleep.
I've heard certain people when we spoke about the astral realm earlier, like when like a lot of people, they want to they talk about going to the astral realm and astral plane. Some people refer to the lower astral plane and the higher astral plane, and they'll say things like the lower astral plane is it's like a bad neighborhood. You don't want to go there. If you go to the astral plane, go to the higher astral plane. I'm just curious, do these planes work if they refer to it as a bad neighborhood? I remember when I was in the 80s, Harlem was a bad neighborhood. They were considered a bad neighborhood. Crack vials, graffiti everywhere, things like that, and it got cleaned up. Can these dimensions get cleaned up? Can the lower astral plane get cleaned up the same way a neighborhood in this realm could get cleaned up, and it could be a whole different place after somebody cleans it up?
Yeah, that's a powerful question. I believe that any darkness can be erased or be cast aside in any dimension. And so what if the goal of humanity and sentient beings in the third dimension is to finally overcome this physical dimension, right? To clean it up first, to bring heaven to the third dimension and make third dimension heaven, which I personally believe the ultimate mission and goal in the third dimension is that we're living out the life inside of a program matrix.
Right.
And the program matrix is a testing and proving ground. How long will it take for the third dimension to become holy? How long will it take for the third dimension to realize their divinity, no matter what species it is throughout the entire universe, culminating as a whole? How long will it take for this third dimension to achieve a heaven-like state? And then moving up into higher dimensions, as energy shifts and moves up into higher dimensions, okay, how long will it take to clean up this dimension? How long will it take to clean up this realm, this realm, this realm, this higher state of astral, this lower state of astral, where they're saying it's dark and dirty? How long will it take for them to realize that their mission is to go down there and clean that up and make it holy, make it divine? So I think that we're in this proving ground where our mission is to go into the dark areas, the dark spaces of this multiverse, and figure out how to turn all that into a sublime heaven. I think that's really what the mission is.
Amazing, brother. I don't want to keep you too long tonight at all. Like I said, it's about 5 a.m. when Billy's at. He's in Egypt family. I'm just probably going to take one question from the family. Anybody who got a question about the GodPower workshop. But man, you never cease to amaze me, Billy. You work hard, just as hard in your dreams as you do in real life, and you're a hard worker in real life. So that says a lot. This brother, this black man right here, worked just as hard on his dreams as he does this realm. Wow, man, you like a superhero, brother. Jesus Christ. But I can't. I'm excited for the workshop, man. I'm excited. That guided dream thing. I'm excited.
This workshop's going to be amazing, man. I'm having a great time here in Egypt. I'm staying here for a few more days. I just got 80 people on this tour I took with me on a VIP tour. I got another 40 people showing up tomorrow. I want to take them on a VIP tour of Egypt, and then I'm coming back to America.
Give me a question, y'all, before Billy get out of here. Give me a question before Billy get out of here. We got the workshop going on the 29th. Any questions about the workshop or anything related? Somebody wants to know. Hold up. Will he be teaching how to expand the mental container?
Well, that is what I'll be teaching, actually, because I have several special things I'll be doing that really correlate to what that question is. You know, between the speed reading, with the learning from 2 different sources of material, I'm going to teach you how I learn rapidly, which is going to expand your mental container. So speed reading is one, but the second thing that I have on my list is I'm going to teach you how to read a physical book, right? And actually listen to an audible book, 2 different books at the same time.
You teaching that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wait, hold on. So I'm reading one book. That's possible, brother. That's possible.
Oh, yeah.
You do that?
Oh, that's how I read 1,000 books in less than 20 years.
This dude is hilarious. I'm sorry, y'all. This dude said he's going to teach us how to read one book while listening to another book.
Yeah, that's on my Eventbrite list, what I'm going to teach you. So this method of learning is an incredible method of learning that I developed on myself, all on my own, since I was a young child, moving all the way up. And so how I developed it, I'll tell you a little bit how I developed it. So one day, I don't know if you remember these big cassette recorders. You put the cassette tape in and you slam it down, right? And you could press play. It had big buttons: play, record, rewind, fast forward. And so I would put my cassette deck right next to the analog radio. This is back in the early 80s. And I would record what was on the radio onto my little cassette tape, the commercials and everything, because we had no choice. And then I would go do my homework, right? And so after I got my chores done, I'd go do my homework and I press play. And I could play back some of the songs I like. During those 2 hours where I would record, that DJ played a lot of the songs I wanted to hear, LL Cool J and so forth and so on, right? So I'd go play that. Now, while I'm doing my homework, I'm doing math and English and everything else. I'm reading books and doing stuff. I'm also listening to the music. I'm also now singing the songs or rapping the songs. So I'm realizing, I said to myself, wow, I can actually sing, rap, or learn these songs while I'm actually doing this other work, which has nothing to do with that music. So I started experimenting with this over time, doing these little thought experiments that I got to the point where when audiobooks first came in, I was like, oh man, this is a great opportunity. Let me now take it to the next level. And so now I started listening to audiobooks and I started reading books. 2 separate books, 2 totally different topics. In the beginning, my retention was probably like 40%. And so I would test myself. And then my retention went to 50, then 60, and 70. I got it up to about 75, 80%, depending on the type of content that I'm into, the sophistication of the science or whatever I'm reading. And so now I can bring that to the world and I can teach this exact system to the world. And through this method, you can become a master at learning information. I'm talking about a massive amount of information in a very short period of time.
Like we won't need Chat GPT after this one, huh?
I am Chat GPT.
Exactly, man.
And you know what's good about with this community that we're in, Rich, is the fact that Chat GPT can't come up with this kind of information. It can only give you surface information, or it can help you write titles and subject lines and things like that, but it can't get into metaphysics. It doesn't have that yet. It doesn't have the capability yet. It didn't have the. So, you know, when people who are building themselves up on Chat GPT and trying to get into this community that we're, you know, what we're teaching, they'll never be fully successful because you can't go through an interview like I go through an interview with you with all these random questions. I don't have time to type these, you know, you can't type these questions into a box and get an instantaneous answer and regurgitate it. You got to know this information. And when you learn speed reading, when I speed read, I read words as if they're actual images. That's why when I'm reading something, sometimes I'm reading so far ahead, I'm stumbling on a couple of the words because my brain has already gone so far ahead. I got to slow myself down to read on camera. But words are images, are like, if you see a stop sign, you don't go stop. oh, stop sign. You know it's a stop sign because of the shape of the sign. So I teach how to see words as actual symbols and signs versus actually having to read words. And so by that method, I've been able now to read. My maximum speed is 4 lines at a time, but you got to build up to that. Initially, it'll be 3 or 4 words. Then it'll be a couple of sentences. Then it could be, 3 to 4 lines of text at a time, depending on the size of the book. I prefer a 6x9 book. It's the easiest way for me to get my eyes to lock in on those lines. But then you're speed reading and you're downloading that, but then you're also taking the audio book in. And with audiobooks, there's another challenge you can get to, which we'll talk about. Audiobooks, you can speed up the sound, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to listen at normal speed. So after you get really good, you begin to speed the sound up of the audiobook, and your speed reading is getting better. Now you're downloading information almost twice as fast. But all these techniques I'm going to teach in the GodPower workshop. You got to sign up.
Amazing. Yeah, somebody said super genius. Yeah. There's some super genius stuff. Yeah, definitely. Somebody said like a super genius. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Question, Billy, will GodPower be available for your subscribers when you?
No, it won't. Just like the GodPower Part 1 is not available unless you buy it as an actual pay-per-view, which costs more money than the Eventbrite. And the reason why it costs more money than the Eventbrite is because there's a streaming fee that we have to pay now. So because we have to stream it, there's an extra fee that we have to pay. And plus, it's not fair to the people who paid for the live workshop. So live workshop is available. There'll be unlimited replays of that live workshop, but just subscribers. It'll never be an actual workshop that's just given to the subscribers. It'll always be a pay-per-view workshop because that's the agreement that I have with Richard and Dr. B Series.
Indeed. So if you buy a ticket, you have lifetime access to it, but the lifetime access is only to people who purchase a ticket, not to any subscribers on Billy's channel, not to anybody on my network or Dr. B's network. It's strictly for ticket holders. Yeah. All right. Somebody said I'm more excited for GodPower 2 than my birthday.
All right.
Yeah, it's definitely it's that good. It's definitely that good. Yeah, listen, I think it's time. Let me see if I can get one more in. All right, let me get rid of this. Okay, hold on. Let me get rid of that. Let me see. How come you? Okay, well, let me ask this. This is an interesting question. And I see, before I ask this, I seen using Egypt. And you show some statue in it. It looked like a African dread brother.
It was a Jamaican looking dude.
Yeah, Jamaican looking dude. Who was that? Who was that, man? That was a powerful. I never seen that before ever.
Yeah, that was a pharaoh. And that pharaoh was, you're talking about the era of the pre-dynastic. You're talking about when it was Kemet, the era of Kemet. And what's interesting is people tend to think that Egypt was all ruled only by Black people, and it never was ruled by any other race. So my job is to really set the whole thing straight. Black people ruled over the land of Kemet. They even ruled over some of the dynastic era of Egypt itself. If you look at King Tut's bloodline going above him, so you have his dad was Akhenaten, and his mother was really not Nefertiti. That was his stepmother. But above his dad was Thutmose III and also Queen Taye. Those were also Black people that were actually dark-skinned to me. This is at the actual museum. You can go see this and learn this in the Cairo Museum, which I was just at a couple of days ago. And so there were plenty of dark-skinned Black people with dreads and everything ruling over that land. But Egypt was like a melting pot in some ways. As time went by, different peoples integrated with Egypt. You had Cambodians and Asians in Egypt living as Egyptians. You also had, the fact that Egypt was overthrown 7 times. And each time it was overthrown, the people that overthrew Egypt would push their influence, the Persians, the Greeks, whatever. So you have this influence being pushed in the region, in the area. And of course, mating and sex, which creates babies that are now more mixed. And so over time, it became more of a mixed state. It wasn't mostly Arabic until around the 1600s when the Arabs came in and really just by force took Egypt. they beat, murdered, and killed a lot of Egyptians, forced them to begin to speak Arabic, and really banished them from learning their true ancient history about the land of Egypt for quite some time. They even built mosques inside of Egyptian temples that were ancient and so forth. And so really forced their ideology and dogma on the people there and forced them to speak Arabic. So again, making it even harder for people to really connect to who they really are, where they came from. So even here, directly in the heart of the land where it happened, people are still walking around here completely lost, have no idea who they are, where they came from, or what their original knowledge or wisdom or religion even was, while they're still here in this actual place. It's crazy how powerful religion is. It can really destroy an entire civilization.
You've been to Egypt a lot. I was about to say, Dr. B, Billy. Quick question. What do you think about the idea or the theory floating around on the internet? It has for quite some time that Obama is the reincarnation of Akhenaten. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, I've heard that quite some time, quite a bit actually. It's pretty interesting. Now, there's only so many ways to configure an avatar body. Now, the likeness is definitely there. You can put it up on the screen. If you put the image over it, right, you kind of you can kind of see the likeness is definitely there. But I think there's a lot of doppelgangers that are walking around. There's people out there that look like me. There's people out there that look like you. I know somebody came on the tour and she was like telling me, she kept stopping, going, I can't believe my son looks so much like you. Every time I see you turn the corner, I'm thinking my son's here, but it's actually you. So there's doppelgangers out there. And I think that Michael Jackson also, you put it up on screen too. Michael Jackson also has one. I'm just going to tell you. Right, there's this Egyptian bust that's in the Cairo Museum that I just came from. And you can see that, is it possible that he was trying to mimic this Egyptian bust, right? This is something he was, I guess, enamored by, and he wanted to copy it with his own face. We'll never know now, but it's possible. But again, there's only so many ways to configure an avatar body, and every so many.
You see it on the screen, Billy? You see it on the screen?
Yeah, it's crazy. Every so many replications, you see this. I posted this so many years ago on Forbidden Knowledge, and people were calling me crazy. I'm like, no, there's only so many ways to configure an avatar body, or maybe he was enamored by this being and he wanted to be able to copy what it looked like. So he decided to copy her. It's actually a woman. So he decided to try to make himself look just like that. And I think he accomplished that mission, but it's pretty interesting. So I think that there's people out there that resemble a lot of other people. When we incarnate or when we reincarnate, I'm not too sure if we, now some people can, because Thoth talks about having the ability to incarnate at will. But a lot of us, I don't think we didn't hit that level yet. So we're at the level where we come back wherever the energy sends us, wherever there needs to be a mission filled or some learning to be done. But when we get to a specific point as an ascended master, we can then control it. Thoth says you can control the reincarnation, and you can control the dimension that you come back in as well, which is pretty interesting. Some people tend to believe that they always come back as the same gender, even as the same race. I don't think so. I don't think you can control energy like that. It's possible that you could have come back as a Caucasian, and it's possible that a Caucasian can come back as a black man. It's possible that you can come back not even as a human being, but as something else that exists in the entire universe. So energy can go anywhere. Energy can be inside of a leaf, a flower, a blade of grass, even a rock. And so I'm not too sure that we always come back in a linear line, as the same gender, as the same race. I think that, again, I think that's putting a cap on what the universe is capable of doing.
Hey, I want to thank you, Billy, for coming on here, man. I know it's late. Anything you want to tell the people before we get out of here about Blueprint for GodPower 2 happening October 29th, Billy?
I would just say, listen, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to be able to get this type of knowledge in such a short period of time. 10 to 12 hours of teaching that we're going to do on that day would literally cost you tens of thousands of dollars to go learn it separately. I think that this is a great opportunity for people to be a part of something that's huge, that's massive, that's paradigm shifting, that's literally going to change not only you, but also change your future generations. And you're talking about joining this workshop and creating a ripple in time. And that ripple in time is going to go out, and it's going to affect all of your future realities in a positive way. So it's a win-win situation. It's a sacrifice to be made to be a part of this. It's called an energetic exchange. We call it nowadays, we call it money, but there is an energetic exchange. But imagine, you're getting taught by two people that are going to give you a certain amount of wisdom that's long lasting, that's life-changing for just not only you, but also generations. I think it's worth $150 or whatever the fee is. I think it's a minimal number when you divide the amount of hours by how much information you're getting. It's probably just a regular hourly rate, to be honest with you. And you're going to take something away from here that's going to be able to change and shift the way you perceive reality and how you can navigate in this third dimension. So I highly recommend it. GodPower 1 was magnificent. People are still talking about it till this day. People who were into GodPower on this Egypt tour that ended yesterday. Yeah, two of them were here. Dope. Yeah, and they was telling everybody about it. You know what I'm saying? So they were like, I got to get in part 2. So part 2 is going to be just as incredible, if not more incredible. So you want to make sure you sign up ASAP.
With that being said, family, this is Brother Rich Black Magic with Billy Carson, Forbidden Knowledge, and we are signing out of here, family. Peace. Take care, y'all.
All right.